Ciao everyone and welcome back to another episode of Learn Italian with Songs. Today we are going to talk about Bellissima by Annalisa. But the true question is, why Bellissima by Annalisa? Well, as I promised, I'm going to talk about, since we finished the songs from Sanremo 2025, I'm going to talk about the songs from Sanremo 2024. A bit because Sanremo is a good showcase of Italian music, a bit because so we can compare the 2025 edition and with the 2024 edition, and because in Sanremo 2024 we had good, good music. So, to do so, I'll try to go in order, and on the podium, we had a song by Annalisa, which is not, however, Bellissima. It is Sinceramente. And we are going to talk about Sinceramente on Friday. And I'm going to do a mental parkour that will devastate me because Sinceramente got so popular that the same song exists in a mix of Italian and French, because Annalisa had a featuring with a French artist, and also she sang the whole song in Spanish as well, so it is in 3 languages, and I'll have also the translating in English, so my polyglottism will be harshly tested on this Friday. And I will succeed or die trying. So, however, I have to make a premise which is composed by 2 other songs. Technically, the premise should be the whole album, to which Sinceramente belongs. However, this album had 3, technically 4, but the main were 3 songs acting a little bit as its staples, okay? The pillars, the base of the album. In fact, Sinceramente, Bellissima and Mon Amour, which we are going to talk about tomorrow, are the main songs of the album. E poi siamo finiti nel vortice, and then we ended up in the vortex, representing the 8th album of Annalisa, by Annalisa. Now, why do I have to talk about the whole album, or at least its staple songs? Because this album represents a new era for Annalisa. And Sinceramente was supposed to be the cherry on top of this album, because Sinceramente was the track closing the album. The one opening the album was, and still is, Bellissima. Literally translation, very beautiful, or the most beautiful. It is a superlative, an adjective in its superlative form. Specifically, it is the feminine form, okay, because it is the superlative of bella. Now, this song was presented to the public in September 2021 and started a new era for the singer Annalisa, for the artist. Now, I managed to find some statements by Annalisa explaining a bit the concept of the song and thus the album, because as I was explaining, this is the opening act of this new era and this album representing the start, the beginning of this new era. So, Annalisa says, I wrote it, Bellissima, at the end of August 2021. As I explained, it was then released in September 2021 and waited over a year to let you listen to it. Now, I'm impatient. For me, it represents a first step into a new world. It balances laughter and tears. It stages emotion but exercises paranoia and disappointment by letting off steam with dance. To tell the truth, it is the perfect musical metaphor of Annalisa as a person or persona, more person though, because this song and thus the whole album is truly biographical. Okay, there is a lot of the artist in this song and the whole album. Then, more about specifically Bellissima. It's a painful story, a punch in the stomach, but written with self-irony and a pinch of romantic hysteria. It makes you dance, yes, but with tears. It's exactly how I am. Of course, she's talking about herself. Then, one last thing. Bellissima draws on my Italian musical roots, on timeless artists like Patti Bravo or Mina, but with experimental rhythms or music that I am passionate about, like the world of dance, electronic and ballad, as if Nada had met Dua Lipa. So this is more music-wise, of course. I'm going to focus more on the meaning and the lyrics. Now, before we start with the lyrics, friendly reminder, if you need the articles I read to take and from which I took these statements, you can ask me either on Discord or in the comments, and I'm going to share them. I stopped putting them all in the description because they are many, and at certain point I was worried about YouTube giving me issues. So if you want to read the whole articles, I'm going to share with you either on Discord or YouTube. Just ask. Anyway, now it's time to talk about the lyrics. But first, I'm going to drink a moment because these days I am very dehydrated. Very important, hydrate yourself. So, let's go with the lyrics. The structure is quite classic. We have verse, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, which also works as an outro. Insieme, solo, dentro casa. Together, only inside the house. Che senso ha? What's the point? Di me non parli con nessuno. You don't talk to anyone about me. E non me lo merito. And I don't deserve it. Il tuo modo di dire le cose, your way of saying things, che sesso fa? How sexy is that? Mi sto impegnando ad essere più elastica. I'm working hard to be more flexible. Ti sto pensando e non ti scrivo da tanto. I'm thinking about you and I haven't written to you in a long time. È un classico. It's a classic. E poi, senza avvisare, sei qui. And then, without warning, you are here. Now, it's going to be fun. We start clearly. This is a troubled relationship. It is not even a relationship, probably is more it is more something like a situationship, because the relationship or the situationship described here is not something constant. It's a sort of gray zone between being together and after breakup. So, we start clearly. we are together, so we are a couple, we are in an official relationship, only we are inside the house, as in only when we are together. And rightfully, she asks, what's the point of this? Is this even a true relationship? Because she's referring to all those secret relationship that can exist in private places, okay, but not in public places, because by definition of secret relationship, the issue with secret relationships is that they take a toll on your mental health. Now, a couple of notes concerning the syntax and grammar. In Italian, when we want to say what's the point, we say che senso ha, at least this is one of the ways you can say it. But literally, che senso ha translates as what meaning or sense does it have? Okay, so what's the meaning behind it? Then in the next line we have an inversion, because instead of saying non parli con nessuno di me, you don't talk to anyone, with anyone about me, because remember, secret relationship, we have an inversion because it is di me, about me, non parli con nessuno, you don't talk with anyone. E non me lo merito, keep it in mind because it will come back in sinceramente. So we have a start that is like, oh my god, this relationship doesn't work. I don't like the fact that the relationship is kept secret. However, you have a very sexy way of saying things, because she says il tuo modo di dire le cose che sesso fa. Your way of saying things, how sexy is that? Of course, it is a rhetorical question. Fun fact, che sesso fa? Or fa un sacco di sesso, fa un botto sesso e quant'altro, and so on, is an idiomatic expression in Italy, a bit vulgar, if you will, or colloquial. I wouldn't define it vulgar, but there are people who would. And it literally translates as what sex does it make? Because sesso is sex, as in an intercourse, okay? It is true that it can also mean sex as in your gender, okay? But in this case, it is mean like the sexual intercourse. I don't know why, but we have this way of saying in Italian because the idea behind is basically that it generates in people the wanting of having sex, okay? It is basically like saying that it arouses you, okay? So when you say, oddio che sesso fa, like, oh my god, that's so hot, okay? But I can understand that the literary translation and syntax of this idiom might be confusing. I understand, but we don't even think about it when we use it. So it's about being used to it. And then we have a sort of section where we have the compromise. So the relationship is not working. I don't like it, but you are so hot. So there is an inner fight. And so she says, mi sto impegnando ad essere più elastica. I'm working hard to be more flexible. Where mi sto impegnando, impegnarsi, literally, it is a reflexive verb, and it literally means to put commitment, because un impegno is your commitment, your effort, your dedication to something or to someone. So it means that quando tu ti impegni, you take a commitment, okay? You commit to it. And that's why I translated it as I'm working hard to be more flexible. However, despite the closer translations, the closer translation being flexible, elastica, feminine, adjective feminine, literally means to be elastic. Now, usually when we say elastico, sii più elastico, sii più elastica in Italian, we don't mean physically, like yoga-wise. We mean mentally, okay? So be more mentally flexible. And then she says, I'm thinking about you and I haven't written to you in a long time. So probably they are not in a relationship. The best case is that they have a situationship, okay? Because otherwise this line wouldn't make much sense. So she's thinking about him, but they didn't talk for a long time. And yet he appears magically from nowhere. And in fact she says, e poi senza avvisare sei qui. And then without warning you are here. Avvisare qualcuno means to tell them you are going to do something. For example, avvisami quando sei arrivato. Let me know when you arrive. Okay, when you have arrived. For example, to someone we care about who's traveling to a place. Or, for example, if someone wants to visit us, we can tell them, per favore avvisami, please let me know. So it is about to let someone know. So the whole point of this situation is that we have this guy who like appears, manifests himself without warning, so without letting you know. Very healthy behavior. And that's why I'm saying this is more like a situationship. And then we have the pre-chorus. Oddio, però tu mi piaci. Oh God, but I like you. Ho fatto i salti mortali. I jump through hoops. No, non mi dire che è tardi. No, don't tell me it's late. Avevo voglia di. I wanted to. Voglia di. I wanted to. Voglia di. I wanted to. And we don't know what she wanted to do, but we can imagine that, considering the context. Probably it wasn't popcorns. So, oddio, però tu mi piaci. Now, oddio literally means oh God. It is the union of the words oh Dio, an exclamation. Put together, usually we double the consonants when we attach words together. This is a good example, for example. When we say oddio, it can mean oh my God, oh gosh, sort of exclamation. But here it is, yes, this exclamation, but it is a little bit more specific. And trust me when I say it is quite hard to explain. Now, you can have those moments where you are thinking about something or someone asks you a question, okay? And you are thinking and you say, oddio, to manifest the fact that you are thinking, basically, it is an interjection, okay? So it is like, say, I don't know, like, oh my, oh God. It is an interjection. And that's why she's probably thinking the situation is not going well, but in the end you showed at my door without telling me. So like now I'm thinking and I think, oddio, però tu mi piaci, like, everything is true, but however, I like you, okay? Also, friendly reminder that the verb piacere, to like, in Italian, doesn't have the same syntax and construction of to like in English. So, we say tu mi piaci or tu piaci a me or tu a me piaci, okay? The best translation to explain this syntax, this construction, is you are dear to me. Because we have the issue that when we use the verb piacere in this situation, so I like you, in Italian, you don't make the action of liking, because in English I make the action to like someone. In Italian it's not like that. In Italian, someone makes the action of being liked by someone else. Okay? And in fact, in this case, you make the action, okay, to be liked by me. However, the issue of this translation is that, okay, so in Italian it is passive. No, it is not passive. It's just that in Italian it is the receiver of the likes doing the action of being liked. Okay? So, the thing is that qualcosa piace a me. Something is dear to me. That's the best translation I can give. But I understand that it doesn't come very natural. It is better if you speak other languages like Spanish. I don't remember, but for example, with French works as well. Next. Idiom. Talking about idiom, fare I salti mortali. It is an idiom that corresponds more or less to the English idiom I jump through hoops. Now, fare I salti mortali means to perform mortal jumps, as in those very dangerous jumps and athletic performances, okay, that you might see in circles, okay. It means like jumps that are very hard and dangerous to perform. Figuratively, and of course informally, because this is an informal idiom, it means to make a great effort or to try hard to achieve a goal. That's why she says, ho fatto i salti mortali. So like, I made sacrifices, I tried very hard, I made a great effort to be with you in this moment, probably. And in fact, she says, no, non mi dire che tardi. No, don't tell me it's late. Now, it's late for what? For the relationship to work? To be together? We don't know. Probably both. Probably even more. And in fact, she says, I wanted to. What is that want? That whim? We'll never know, but we can understand it from the context and the previous verse. And then we have the chorus. So the idea is that the guy wants to leave. In fact, the chorus starts with dove vai? Where are you going? Te ne vai? Are you leaving? Quella volta non dovevi andare via. The time you shouldn't have left. Ero bellissima. Bellissima. I was very beautiful. Very beautiful. And then again, dove vai? Where are you going? Ma che cosa vuoi? But what do you want? Quella volta ti aspettavo in Saint Laurent. The time I was waiting for you wearing Saint Laurent. Ero bellissima, bellissima. I was very beautiful, or the most beautiful, or I was so beautiful. Apparently, Blaue got taken hostage by the university. Yeah, damn girl. No, but I understand Blaue, to be honest. I had as well back in the days uni courses lasting a lot. Anyway, so as I was saying, we have this scene. The guy showed up uninvited, without any warning at her door, but it's late and he wants to leave. And then she thinks about the past, about something that happened. And this is a reference to what happens in the video clip, because in the official video clip, we see Annalisa in a car with someone who's basically standing her up. So, as we like to say in Italian, le ha dato buca. As in, when you tell last minute, or you don't even warn the person you should see that you are not coming to the event date, when you stood up someone, basically. So, and in fact, she is describing a past episode where they were supposed to have a date, a rendezvous, I don't know. And she was wearing Saint Laurent. What is Saint Laurent? Also known as Yves Saint Laurent, or simply YSL. Saint Laurent is a French luxury fashion house. So, this outfit, this brand, okay, it is also the brand of clothes, of the clothing Annalisa wears in the video clip. So it is basically also a reference to the video clip. And in fact, she keeps saying, the time you stood me up, I was so beautiful, you, like, how dare you, you shouldn't have left. A little note. Of course, here Annalisa has no issues because she's a singer and she knows what she's doing. But if you are an Italian student, remember that in this case the correct verb form should have been quella volta non saresti dovuto andare via. Here it is instead used the imperfetto, one of the past tenses in Italian, which is a clever move because quella volta non dovevi andare via is gender neutral. All those forms in past tense including the past simple, the past participle, are gendered because remember that our past participles are gender. Non saresti dovuto, masculine, andare via. Non saresti dovuta, feminine, andare via. Quella volta non dovevi andare via is gender neutral, so in this case we don't know if she's talking about a man or a woman. Now, if we go and check the previous verse and we check the whole lyrics, we can notice that we don't have gender terms concerning the other person. We have some gender terms. For example, elastica, because elastica is feminine, elastico would be masculine. But if we notice, we don't know if the person Annalisa is talking about is a man or a woman. And if we check also the pre-chorus, we also notice that she says, però tu mi piaci, genderless, io ho fatto i salti mortali, non mi dire che è tardi, avevo voglia di. Again, genderless. In the chorus, quella volta non dovevi andare via, ero bellissima, dove vai, cosa vuoi, ti aspettavo. Using this temporal form, despite not being grammatically correct, was probably used because if we check carefully until now, we can't tell that this person is a man. Why I was assuming and saying him? Because the voice we hear in the video clip at the beginning, where she's being stood up, is a male voice, or at least appears to be a male voice. But if we take only the lyrics, until now, we don't know if the other person is a man or a woman or everything in between. And then we have the second verse. Mettiamo un po' di musica da ginnastica. Let's play some gym music. È tutto il giorno che mi salvo da un pianto isterico. It's been all day that I've been saving myself from an hysterical crying. Vado a letto col pantaloncino dell'Adidas. I go to bed in Adidas shorts. Where, however, pantaloncino in Italian is singular. E poi volevo dirti, and then I wanted to tell you, che non ci dormo più, that I don't sleep in it anymore. Madonna, se mi manchi. Literally, Our Lady, if I miss you. Technically, it would be better to translate it like, gosh, if I miss you. Sì, yes, chiamatemi un medico. Call me a doctor. E poi, senza avvisare, sei qui. And then, without warning, you are here. And now that we also saw the second verse, we know that if we if we pay attention, we can't tell if the partner, the other protagonist of the story, is a man or a woman. This is a beautiful example of a genderless, at least for the person to whom is dedicated the song. So, a couple of notes. Ok, she says, vado a letto col pantaloncino dell'Adidas, because if you listen carefully to the song, she says dell'Adidas. Now, because one of the most famous brands in Italy concerning tracksuits is Adidas. Now, however, if you go and check the official lyrics on the official channel, that's why I'm calling them in the official like the official lyrics, because if you go under the video clip, the official video clip of the song, Annalisa blessed us with the lyrics of the song. I really love when artists do that because they solve many issues for me. So, if, however, you check the official lyrics, there is not Adidas mentioned, probably because of brand issues. Because probably she wasn't paid if she was mentioning Adidas and she was in collab at the same time with Saint Laurent. Probably it created some issues. So, in the official version, she says, vado a letto col pantaloncino della tuta. Of course, it didn't fit the metric like dell'Adidas. And so, like, in the song, if you pay attention, she says dell'Adidas. La tuta is the tracksuit. Then, e poi volevo dirti che non ci dormo più. And then I wanted to tell you I don't sleep in it anymore because she is in it. Now, what is in it? I don't know. It could be that she can't sleep anymore because she is like this unhealthy relationship is keeping her awake. It can be that she took off the Adidas shorts. I don't know. Multiple interpretations as usual. And then, as I said, Madonna se mi manchi. So, yeah, Gaso, yeah. Then, Madonna se mi manchi. In Italian, we have many ways many interjections, many exclamations, and generally they involve God, the Saint Mary, or saints, generally speaking, or Jesus Christ. Several options. As you can notice, we have Vatican City within our borders, so just like we can say, oddio se mi manchi, Madonna se mi manchi. Technically, Madonna comes from mea domina, okay? My lady, and it follows pretty much the same reasonement of Notre Dame. However, in Italian, we use la Madonna to interject. So in this case, yes, it is Our Lady. However, in Italian, while in English and in French, you have Our, so Notre Dame, Our Lady. In Italian is My Lady, mea domina, Madonna. And it is like, gosh, if I miss you, gosh, how much I miss you. That's the reasonament, the meaning behind this line. And she's missing this person so much that she's like, oh my God, call me a doctor. And then, without warning, once again, this person is here. Ce li vedo bene con I canti gregoriani, gas. Un bel mix di metal e canti gregoriani. By the way, I think there are reasons why Vatican City cannot participate in Eurovision, because at certain point, legally speaking, I read so many things that are completely not, like, I'm not involved in them. They do not concern my sector, my field, but they pop out in my feed nonetheless. And I remember that at certain point I read something concerning the rules and guidelines of the Eurovision and why the Vatican City cannot participate, but I don't remember, but there is something. I should check. But there is a reason why, probably not from the Eurovision, but from the Vatican City not allowing members of the clergy to participate in it. But I should check. Indeed, Gaso, indeed. And in fact, many metal bands use as a base classical music and Latin. So I'm telling you, it would be a banger. So, Then we have a repetition of the pre-chorus. Oddio, però tu mi piaci, ho fatto i salti mortali, non mi dire, no, non mi dire che è tardi, avevo voglia di, voglia di, voglia di. Oh God, but I like you, I jumped through hoops, no, don't tell me it's late, I wanted to. Repeat it 3 times. And then we have the chorus, once again, dove vai, te ne vai, quella volta non dovevi andare via, ero bellissima, bellissima. Where are you going? Are you leaving? The time you shouldn't have left. I was so very beautiful. Dove vai? Ma che cosa vuoi? Quella volta ti aspettavo in Saint Laurent, ero bellissima, bellissima. Where are you going? But what do you want? The time I was waiting for you wearing Saint Laurent, I was so very beautiful. And that was the lyrics of Bellissima by Annalisa. Now let's talk about gossip. Actually, not much gossip, because but fun fact. So, I'm saying not much gossip because Annalisa is quite reserved. Okay, she likes to protect her privacy. I would say rightfully so. Good job. Recommended. And so, like, there is we for example don't know who is this person who stood up Annalisa, because like we know that this happened, not exactly like it is in the song, but we know that she's describing a real experience. So like having a secret relationship, not stable, unpredictable, generally not healthy, being stood up despite being so fucking beautiful. And probably one of the reasons why this song is one of the most successful songs of Annalisa is because of how much relatable this is. Because I swear to God, guys, it never happened to me. Okay. Nobody ever stood me up. I'm very happy about it. Also because I take no bullshit. So if someone, like, I'm not the type of person who goes back and forth with someone. Usually when I close a relationship, it is closed. I'm very quick to burn bridges. So I've never really had the issue of fighting and then going back with someone. Whatever. So I never had this issue, but I have so many friends, male and female equally, perfectly described by this song. Because I can tell you that okay, I knew this song because it's very famous. But while I was listening to it to do the analysis, I was truly thinking about all the phone calls, vocal messages, desperate texts, and whatnot that I received in my entire life from friends, like crying about something like that. I think I lost the counting. So even if these I don't relate specifically to this song, okay, because it is not compatible with my personality. I have a very direct type of personality. If I don't like something or someone, I am very quick to send them to fuck off. And as I was explaining, I am not the type of person going back and forth thinking about exes. I am incredibly selective concerning my relationships. So I never experienced firsthand a situation like this. However, I am also a very empathetic person. And I can tell you, I didn't experience myself this situation, but I experienced it through people I care about. And this is incredibly common, I can swear. Because if you think about it, the lyrics of the song is quite simple, also a bit repetitive, if you will. Because in the end, there is no much text. It's more like it is a very much dance song, okay? The lines are quite simple, but already the fact that this is one of the few songs that are genderless, like potentially Annalisa could be talking about a woman. Because if we go and check the whole lyrics, the lyrics is not gendered unless she is talking about herself. Because she is using a very smart trick, which is talking directly to the person. So it is either impersonal, so insieme solo dentro casa, not soli, not sole, solo, which means we are together only when we are inside the house, insieme solo dentro casa, genderless. Because if she had put in the song insieme soli dentro casa, of course it wouldn't make sense, because the whole point was the fact that they are together as a couple only in the house, but it is a good experience. Che senso ha? Di me non parli con nessuno. Tu. Non me lo merito. Il tuo modo di dire le cose, tuo masculine modo, because tuo is related to modo, che senso fa? Mi sto impegnando ad essere più elastica, gender, because she's talking about herself. Ti sto pensando e non ti scrivo da tanto, è un classico, e poi senza avvisare sei qui. Genderless, oddio però tu mi piaci, again, could be a woman, could be a man. Ho fatto i salti mortali, non mi dire che è tardi, avevo voglia di dove vai, te ne vai, quella volta non dovevi andare via. Here, as I was explaining, it's the only moment we could have had a the gender reveal of the person, but by changing the verbal form from quella volta non saresti dovuto or dovuta andare via, by using dovevi, it becomes genderless. Ero bellissima, bellissima, because she's talking about herself. Dove vai, ma che cosa vuoi? Quella volta ti aspettavo in Saint Laurent, ero bellissima, bellissima. Mettiamo un po' di musica da ginnastica e tutto il giorno che mi salvo da un pianto isterico vado a letto col pantaloncino dell'Adidas. Here she's talking about herself. E poi volevo dirti che non ci dormo più. Madonna, se mi manchi, sì, chiamatemi un medico e poi senza avvisare sei qui. Very simple, but I bet that not many people notice that in its simplicity, it is very interesting, because one of the biggest problems of love songs is that they are always dedicated to a woman or a man. In fact, a good example of this is that back in my days, when I was a young middle schooler, one of the most famous singer was Tiziano Ferro. Tiziano Ferro is usually singing love songs, okay? And year after, he came out as gay. But all his songs were basically like hiding him in the closet because they were all dedicated to women. Okay. Makes sense to dedicate, like, because you are thinking, okay, my audience is young girls, they are thinking about me like I was dedicating the song to them. So, of course, that's my audience. I'm going to make my songs with my audience in mind. But I love when artists are able to make their songs, their love songs, genderless. Like, this person I am talking about is not a woman, is not a man, it is a person, including everything in the middle. So, very smart, if you ask me. That said, tomorrow we are going to talk about the second staple of this album, leading also as to Sinceramente. So tomorrow we are going to talk about Mon Amour. And technically one of the staple would be also Ragazza Sola, but the main points were Bellissima and Sinceramente because they open and close the album. We also have Mon Amour, which became one of the most popular songs. We have Ragazza Sola and technically also featuring with the Tananai Tormentone Estivo from last year or 2023, I don't remember. No, I think it was last year. Which title is Storie Brevi. Now, if you want and you request it specifically, we can also talk about Ragazza Sola and Storie Brevi. Otherwise, I'm going to keep the magic trio Bellissima, Bellissima, Mon Amour, and Sinceramente. So next week we can talk about the new song of Annalisa and one of the Tormentoni estivi for summer 2025 in Italy, Maschio. That said, I hope you enjoyed this live. Let me know what you think about this song in the comment section. Grazie everyone for watching and arrivederci.